Welcome to EV Loop, powered by Carloop. I'm Adrian Maidment.
And I'm your host, Riz and Adrian.
This episode, Shark seen, Cybertaxi released, and new Zeekr spotted. G'day, Riz.
Hey, Adrian. Good to be on. This is our 12th episode.
Yep, I was going to say a baker's dozen. That's not right. That's 13, but that's a dozen episodes, so that's quite well for us.
That's right. Carton of eggs, which are pretty hard to get at the moment in Australia because you apparently can't get it. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about electric cars.
Yeah, electric cars, and we could talk about battery farming, but that's slightly off track. But let's start first up with new models. So let's talk about something new. The new Shark, BYD Shark. You've had a bit of a look at it.
Yeah, I got a chance to drive it on an off-road track. It's sort of a preview of a launch, and it's the first time I've driven, I guess, plug-in hybrid electric ute. And what I was quite interested to see was how it would perform in its electric vehicle or EV only mode. And I have to say I'm impressed. I'm impressed at what it can do and how comfortable that vehicle is on and off-road, but I mainly got to test it on an off-road track, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, and so the interior is pretty nice, isn't it? It's pretty high class.
Yeah, and I guess the pictures don't do it justice. Getting up front, up and close, having a look at the interior itself, it's very similar in terms of quality to a BYD Seal Premium or Performance. So for those that have had a chance to drive that pretty cool electric sedan, this is very close. And one of the things that it has in there, apparently the interior is inspired by a spaceship. So it has some very clicky tactile buttons, and it's very driver focused as well. Meanwhile, having a large, infotainment screen with BYD's latest software in the middle, and lots of buttons, tactile buttons on the steering wheel. Yeah, I was very impressed.
I guess that's probably one of the big differences between, all the other Chinese vehicles coming in. This does have buttons, lots of buttons you can adjust.
Yeah, that's right. And obviously you can control things through the software as well. Yeah. Things such as the ride comfort, just a bit of context, over a decade ago, I was given a Ford Ranger for work for about 2 years, and I was driving it on the daily up in Queensland. That was rough as guts compared to, I know that was over a decade ago, but the Shark and in its EV only mode is next level. The performance and everything, it's just like having an electric car with pretty much instant torque. And it offers, significant sort of over 70 kilometers of electric only range from its nearly 30 kilowatt hour BYD Blade battery, which is supplied by FinDreams. Now, FinDreams, for those viewers and listeners that are not sure, is a brand that BYD owns, and that's their battery subsidiary that provides the batteries for Atto 3s, Dolphins, and pretty much every other product, including the Shark.
And just one sort of key stat the ute owners will probably want to know about is it's only 2.5 ton towing.
Yes. Now, that is, I think, BYD's first attempt at a ute. So 2.5 ton is not bad for those wanting to tow a trailer. And, for most applications, obviously there's people that really take towing and off-roading very, very seriously. This ute is very off-road capable. On the towing front, 2.5 ton, but I got a chance to sit with one of the accessory suppliers that will be supplying accessories for, official accessories for BYD that's based in Australia. And these guys love four-wheel drives. And they've been driving them for decades. And what they were able to show me of what this ute can do in its off-road modes, that includes snow, sand, mountain, all of those terrains. It can lift two wheels off the ground on the right sort of elevation and still be able to get traction to get across ditches and other things, which, could be application for some people that like to take things off-road. But for our ute, for the roads, for slight off-roading, for adventures. My initial impressions in this preview is it's pretty good. I know it's not fully electric, but if this is the first step towards it, then that's great. And by the end of this preview, I also got another preview that it's very likely there's a reason why it's called the Shark 6, because the Shark 7 may be in the works, which could very possibly be a fully electric ute for those that are looking for that as well. So I'm pretty excited, really getting a chance to spend a bit more time with the vehicle, particularly in its EV-only mode, and yeah, just putting it through its paces. So stay tuned for that in the upcoming episodes once this ute is ADR approved in the coming months.
Let's move on to... Well, we'll do a recap of We Robot, the October 10 extravaganza of Tesla launching their Cyber... Well, the Robo... We'll start with starting the Robotaxi, which is now the Cybercab. They also unveiled a Tesla van, and they also unveiled a fleet of Tesla robots. What are your thoughts, Riz, as an avid Tesla follower?
Look, I have to say I'm pretty impressed at what they were able to show in such a short period of time. 3 products doing their own thing, including demonstrations to those that were able to attend that event or were invited to do so. And it looked like something out of the sci-fi movies, like the whole setup. It was at Warner Brothers Studios in California, and they really put on a pretty big show that I think at one stage on the, because it was being live streamed on YouTube and X, and I had a quick look on YouTube. Before it even started, it had 107,000 viewers just waiting. And there was a bit of a delay with the start as well because there was some sort of a medical emergency going on. But the vehicle themselves, coming 2026, they said. But then they said, Elon Musk very quickly backtracked and said, no, before 2027, because he's very optimistic with the timelines of things. Having said that, there will be a autonomous fleet of Model 3 and Model Ys as early as 2025, driving around the streets of California and Texas, taking paid rides. So it's not as far as we think, and that I think that's the message that Tesla tried to send out there, particularly with the Robotaxi. I quite like the design of the new, the styling that they've got on there. It will have inductive charging, so it doesn't need to be plugged in. They also showcased a robot that will be able to clean all of the, basically, vacuum everything out and clean the screen and sanitize it and the rest of it. So they're all really thinking that all of this is going to happen without any human intervention. Doesn't have a steering wheel, doesn't have any pedals, but it does have the biggest screen in any Tesla so far, nearly 21 inch, right in the middle, which is there to show the riders where they're going, entertainment such as games, movies, and whatever else. This vehicle is supposed to be in the market before 2027 for under $30,000 and will be able to be purchased by everyday people as well if they wanted to run a fleet of electric vehicles, sort of a fleet of Ubers, I guess, without the drivers.
Let's move on to something now and new. It's Kia. The Kia EV5, which we've been waiting for a little while to finally get here. Prices have been released, Riz.
Yeah, they have. Now, Adrian, this might not be just present. This is actually from the past, because this vehicle was supposed to be out in June.
Yes, we have been waiting, haven't we?
And which
is Tesla-esque, waiting.
Well, that's right, waiting a long time for products. But so moving into the past, this vehicle was supposed to be out, and it was delayed due to a couple of issues with they claim its wheels and its software. Apparently, they've all been resolved now, and the vehicle's finally here in Australia with a starting price of under $57,000 drive away for the base model with the smaller battery. And that gets bumped up to $61,000 for the long range, the bigger battery. And then they have a couple of 2 other trims, which, bump it up to mid-70,000s. So from quite affordable in some ways to quite expensive on the other end. Kia EV5 has finally landed, and I'm sure we will have a bit more to say about it in the coming weeks when we get a chance to get behind the wheel of one.
And staying on prices, I usually mention an MG price cut now. So what's the cheapest EV in Australia this week?
This week it still is MG4, 30,990 drive away. Now there are some rumours, maybe confirmed by now actually, that after this drive away promo ends at the end of October, Kia is planning on sticking pretty close to that promo price and having it at 32,990, which is still a pretty good price. That is like Corolla hybrid sort of pricing for a car that's rear-wheel drive, lithium iron phosphate battery, 51 kilowatt hours, 350 odd kilometers of range, plenty for driving around the city. When this car was first launched, I remember good friend Tom from Ludicrous Feed and we drove it from Sydney to Canberra and back in one day. Can't be done. So MG at that price point, it is one of the best all-round cars available in the market, 5-star ANCAP rating, and yeah, just I was very impressed. Someone that likes slightly sportier cars, this is sporty enough given its rear-wheel drive. So yeah, that price is gonna stay. GWM Aura is not far, under 34 grand drive away, but you know, I guess if I had my preference liking sporty cars, I think it's a bit more sportier the MG4, where the Aura is a bit more on the comfort end.
Now looking at upcoming vehicles and vehicles spotted, there's a new Zeekr that's been spotted in Australia.
That's right, Adrian. Bit of an exclusive, this one. I was sent a photo of a people mover that was spotted in Sydney. Now it looks like it was covered in bedsheet or something like that.
The photo is ridiculous.
That's right.
What it's wearing.
But having said that, it's basically a big Casper. That's Halloween theme. But it was quite good to see it finally land. I had a chance to be a passenger in this particular vehicle in China in June. It's Bentley quality in terms of how comfortable it is. But from the outside, that's what's been spotted. We don't know what the interior for the Australian market looks like just yet. It's pretty cool to see it finally land in Sydney, and we may possibly even see it at an upcoming event this week, which is the South by Southwest in Sydney at Darling Harbour. So it might be on display there. So if anyone's around Sydney, come and check it out. You will also probably see me somewhere around the vehicles if you happen to pass by. So if you do so, come and say hi.
And just also coming up, back to BYD, there's the Sea Lion 7 coming this way.
So these are not rumors. These are apparently confirmed. I also had a chance to talk to the importer of BYD at the Shark launch or pre-launch, and they're pretty confident that Sea Lion 7 will make its way in first quarter of 2025. Now, things can move around, so this is a tentative sort of a timeline. But yeah, the focus at the moment is more Sea Lion 6 sales and the launch of the Shark Ute. So that's probably the reason why it's going to be landing here in quarter one next year. A bit of competition there, Adrian, because Xpeng will have launched their G6, which we spoke about the prices on one of our recent episodes. Deepel, Zeekr, Leap Motor, the list, EV5, we just spoke about that. All of those cars will be rivaling the Tesla Model Y. So all of them are Tesla Model Y killers.
Yeah, they've all used the same headline for their release of the articles are all, Tesla Model Y comparison. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, the Sea Lion 7 is BYD's answer to Tesla Model Y, but I also have a feeling that Tesla is not sitting on their laurels. They're not only designing robots, they are working on the updated Model Y, which we could possibly see before the Sea Lion 7.
Oh yeah, what's the rumored arrival date for the updated?
Well, Mr. Musk has previously said it's not happening this year. So I would expect in January.
Oh, okay. That'd be good. That's not too far away. Not too far away. So that's a lot of vehicles coming out. A lot of vehicles. Very exciting.
I don't know how I'm going to find the time to test drive this, and likewise for yourself as well, Adrian. So if any of the car companies are listening, please be considerate of the time we have to be able to test drive these vehicles. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, but please contact me because I'm very keen for some test driving.
Australia or New Zealand,
yes.
Contact us.
Yes, very much. And let's move on to chart of the week. This week we're looking at charger growth, Riz.
That's right, Adrian. So we've sort of touched on the EV uptake because a lot's happened in this space. Now we're looking back at the charger growth and what's going on since we last reported it. We have over 40 sites added, so we are over at 1,050 chargers now. That's 3,261 individual plugs, which obviously includes CHAdeMO and the more popular CCS2. So the growth continues. Tesla, ChargeFox, EV Networks, I guess Ampol and BP, they all have charging sort of sites that are in the works, and they might all open. So Q4 traditionally, which is what we're in now, the last 3 months of the year before Christmas, when everybody gets out on doing road trips around the Christmas and New Year break, chargers are at its busiest. But what we saw at the end of last year was Q4 was the busiest charger for all these sites coming online, because all these companies are saying all these people will be driving around, so they need to charge, so we need to make our money back. So we better have these sites opened in time for that big Christmas and New Year rush. More chargers in the ground. Obviously, we have significant amount of electric vehicles that are on the road now that we didn't have last year. So it's all happening over 1,050 sites and many more to come before Christmas.
Okay, and just moving on to, obviously you've got a lot going on, so I thought maybe just focus on what actually has Carloop, the brand, got coming along.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of, exciting things. One is we're launching our industry report that will be coming in for basically government and businesses that are looking at making informed decisions around electrification and where things are going, covering things like EV uptake, state of passenger vehicles, electric trucks, ride share. There's a lot of activity. We touched on it in the last episode. What's going on right now, particularly companies like Uber and the rest, charging infrastructure, and particularly those that are looking at the long-term opportunities, predictions. What's happening in 2025 and beyond in this very, very exciting sector. For all of our viewers and listeners, there's also something that's quite exclusive that we're working on. We're planning on launching an Australian EV industry newsletter. So let us know if there's any topics that you will find interesting that you want to see in there. We would love to get your feedback to be able to cover it and include it so that we're giving you the right information at the right time so you can go out there and fight FUDs and whatever else we're seeing right now that's causing a little bit of a slowdown in the rate at which EV adoption should be occurring.
And what have you got coming up events-wise, Riz?
So this week I'm at South by Southwest, which would be quite good with Zeekr, having a look at the Zeekr X. Test drives are also on offer in Sydney. There is also potentially the 009 electric people mover we just touched on as well. Very exclusive potential preview of that. And then back in Melbourne, a few things happening here, particularly as we cover what's going on in the EV market.
Okay, and then some final thoughts to wrap us up with?
Yeah, look, with all these models that are about to launch, one of the things that sticks out is what's going to be popular with fleets. Because so far, fleets have been a little bit on the slow end to adopt those. They have some big pressure coming because next year there will be mandatory reporting for any ASX listed company on Scope 2 and Scope 3 emissions, which will impact not only those companies but all their contractors and everyone else. And one of the lowest hanging fruit is electric vehicles and to electrify your transport. So with all these vehicles coming in, there's many more options. But sometimes, when you go to McDonald's or any of the fast food places, you have a menu that's got about 3,000 items on it. You don't know which one to choose. So what would you normally do? Go for whatever you're used to. So in the fleet's case, they would traditionally be picking brands that they're used to. So brands like Kia with the EV5 that they've just launched at a pretty good price. That could be a bit of a hot seller. So that's one thing worth noting. But we also have to think about how we can build that confidence for fleets to start to trust and have some Chinese-made EVs in their fleet as well. So a lot of work for us to do to try and help the industry accelerate. But yeah, lots of options, which hopefully will make it easier, but we've got a lot ahead of us.
Okay, Riz, thanks for that, and we'll see you again next week.
Thanks, Adrian. And for our viewers and listeners, please like, subscribe, and share, and leave any feedback or comments below so we can continue to deliver the content that you deserve when it comes to EV adoption in Australia and New Zealand.